Hi all, my name is Haley Comet and welcome to my cosmic corner of the internet where we discuss all things astrology. And today, Venus in Scorpio. I am so grateful for this request because this video does come from a request. I personally forgot I ever started a Venus series. I used to just record videos on photo booths and just throw them up. So when someone commented asking for a continuation of that series, I was like, I love Venus in Scorpio, let's do it. Before we dive in, if there is a point in this video that you smile, you giggle, you feel seen, you feel heard, if you wouldn't mind just dropping a like, subscribing only if I've earned it, and commenting what your favorite or least favorite part of being a Venus Scorpio is, I would really appreciate it. And without further ado, let's get into the video. Venus Scorpio. Oh, my Venus Scorpios. The first thing that you need to know about this placement, whether it's yours or someone dear to you, is that Venus doesn't like being in Scorpio. It's just the facts. Venus is about keeping things pretty and light and lovely and pleasurable. Meanwhile, Scorpio is about diving deep into the abyss. Now, does this mean that your birth chart is cursed so that you can't make it work for you? Absolutely not. I know so many people who elevate the Venus and Scorpio placement to a near art form, but it is important for you to learn that Venus isn't inherently happy, so it might take some self-discovery on your part to kind of get it working for you. So why it doesn't work? Scorpio trenches to the depths. Scorpio's opposite sign, Taurus, which rules Venus, which is why it's uncomfortable here. Taurus is about sensual pleasures and things that are beautiful. But Scorpio is like, okay, I like beauty, but what's underneath? What's the dark underbelly? I want to get to your core. Whereas Taurus is an energy that's like, you're pretty, you smell nice, let's do this. Whereas Scorpio is like, well, what's your trauma? What's your secrets? Tell me everything. I want to dive deeper. They aren't content with things that are just a pretty outside. They want to know your soul, your fears, your secrets. They want to know everything about you. They want to plunge into the depths of you. So when it comes to relationships, because remember, Venus is the placement of romantic relationships, there is this tendency to want to test people. Because Scorpio is a very kind of paranoid and obsessive sign, there can be an embedded in paranoia, like, well, you're going to cheat on me, you're going to betray me, so let me test you so I can find out the real you. It's like they want to trench into the depths with someone even if they don't know them that well. That's why with Venus Scorpio, it's like if you're dating one or you are one, you know there is no middle ground. They're either all for you and one of the most loyal people ever, or they are not sure about you. And a Scorpio, any Scorpio placement has a very strong wall up. They don't let people in easily, which is where this testing comes in. This testing, like, can I trust you with my heart? Because when they do open up, when you pass the test and you're into their inner fortress that few are allowed to enter, you have a piece of them forever. Scorpios are so loyal. So when it comes to love, you don't take it lightly. You give a portion of yourself and you are devoted. Relationships transform you. The energy of Scorpio is like a phoenix, continually burning off the past version of themselves to renew even stronger and even wiser. And love for you, the passion you feel when you're in love relationships, can be a significant driver for a lot of psychological work on yourself or work on yourself in general. Love is something that takes you to a very deep place and can inspire a lot of transformation within you. You do not forget transgressions easily or ever. Like I said, Scorpio can be a little bit of a paranoid energy. And because you have this kind of embedded fear that your lover is going to leave you or deceive you, that when there is a slight transgression, even if it's not to that extent, you lock up and can be vicious. And that is something to watch, because in a Scorpio's mind, it's like you feel things so deep that if your partner forgot to tell you that they're dining out with a friend and they won't be there to make you dinner tonight, that's on surface level not a big deal. But to a Scorpio, because you feel things so intensely, you're like, okay, well, if they're dishonest about this, what else can they be dishonest about? It's like you go 0 to 100 very quickly, and not like necessarily in a super reactive way like Aries would, but in terms of, a lot of depth of emotion being inspired by something that seemingly seems rather minor. So it's important in a love relationship to really foster a foundation of trust and to really let that guard of kind of paranoia down, to realize that people aren't out to get you, they aren't out to deceive you. But when it does come to those larger scale transgressions, certainly you will not earn a Scorpio's trust back. They will remember that forever. And if you even, are rude or do something cruel to someone in their inner circle, like I said, Scorpios are all about their people. So if you're lucky enough to earn a Scorpio's heart, they will defend you to the end of time. Scorpio can be a very fierce energy, but I've noticed they get the most fierce if someone close to them is hurt rather than sticking up for themselves. So if you are lucky enough to be in a Scorpio's, energy field, just keep in mind that they feel things very deeply, and it's really important to be as communicative with them as possible, because they do bring this sense of paranoia with them into relationships. Now, Venus is also money, and Venus and Scorpio natives can have a lot of psychological hangups around money, and that can be good or bad. They can associate money with power. They can associate money with freedom. Whenever we think of Scorpio, we think of trudging into the depths, right? So they're typically not going to have a surface level relationship with money. It could feel like feast or famine, like they're just swimming in the dough, or they have nothing, or they can be, total hoarder one moment, not wanting to spend anything, and then just throwing it up, at Macy's the next. Like, they definitely go to extremes when it comes to finances. So I'll say, if you're a Venus Scorpio, aim for a more even keel approach to money, because it's an emotional energy wrapped up in money. You can let that filter your gaze. My biggest advice would be to just look at the numbers, get emotions out of it, whether it's working with an accountant or a bookkeeper, or just looking at the numbers like, hey, I went over my spending this much, maybe I can cut it back, so it doesn't turn into such this smoldering, intense thing within your life. But I will say, even though Venus isn't operating strongly, it's not that you won't have money in your lifetime. It just might mean that you have some psychologically reworking around how it is that you process money in this world. Like, do you detest rich people? Do you roll your eyes every time you see a Tesla? Like, what is your vibe around money? Do you feel guilty whenever you receive money? Because there's an interlocking connection between your psychology and your emotions and the way you process money, it's really important to dive deep and do that transformation so you can really have a healthy relationship with money. Venus is also what we enjoy, what we like to spend time on. And with Venus and Scorpio natives, psychology could be something you're very interested in, trudging into the depths, trying to understand people deeper. You could also be really into like true crime or podcasts where it like goes deep into things. Like, you are someone where your curiosity, unlike Venus and Gemini, which just wants to learn a lot about a lot, you want to learn a lot when something really captures your interest, because you are such a discerning energy. When something captures your interest, you can get nearly obsessive about it. It is like tunnel vision, and suddenly it's 2 a.m. and you've been on Reddit for 4 hours because this particular case, this particular theory really caught your attention. So I would say use that obsessive energy into things that are constructive rather than destructive. It's important to note whenever we talk about Scorpio that you do have some destructive qualities. And with Venus and Scorpio, the things that you love, you could take it to such an extreme that it becomes destructive. So anything in life, food or reading, anything can become a little bit of an addiction, although not all of them will be, detrimental for your life. But it's important to investigate, like, why am I going on Reddit? Am I trying to avoid my feelings? Like, why am I eating right now? Am I trying to avoid my feelings? Why am I shopping right now? Am I trying to avoid my feelings? It's really important to approach this placement with a really psychological look at your deep underlying motivations towards Venusian things, which would be love, which would be money, which would be leisure activities. That's why Venus isn't comfortable, because Venus is very kind of light and fluffy and pleasurable, whereas Scorpio is about trudging into the depths of your psychology, of what's under the surface. So inherently, there's a little bit of a disconnect. I do want to mention, on the note of love relationships, is with Venus and Scorpio, you can be drawn to people who are a little destructive, or who mirror to you some kind of psychological, hangups that you have within yourself. So it's really important. Anytime you have a Scorpio placement, there's a request in that chart that that individual needs to dig deep to evolve wherever it shows up. So with Venus and Scorpio, if you kind of don't take the time to really look within and ask yourself some tough questions and confront your psychology, you will attract individuals who bring out the worst, most malicious sides of you. The highest vibration of Scorpio is someone who does that work, who digs deep and is able to kind of flip that script and choose something different. But with Venus and Scorpio, that's why I was saying, like, love can be a big driver of your transformation. That could be an amazing thing, like dating someone who really pushes you to evolve and take to the next level. But also it could be, you know, attracting individuals who really bring out the worst in you, and then you have to decide to choose a different way to make something out of your life. So it's important to use any Venusian thing and look at, okay, what is my psychology underneath this? How can I dig deep to ensure that I'm evolving in a positive way, rather than getting so obsessed with anything Venus, which would be pleasure, food, money, getting so obsessed with it that it becomes this really destructive force within my life. Also, we can't forget, you know, the sexual undertones with Scorpio as well. You can have a true love for sex, a true love for intimacy. It's important to acknowledge your fears around relationships. Like I said, fears and paranoia can really fog your vision of the person in front of you, or reading into what's being said, what's not being said. While you do have a gift with psychology, with understanding the inner workings of other people's brains, and eventually in the Scorpio journey, understanding the inner working of your brain, it's important not to like psychoanalyze people or to read into things so much, because it depends on what kind of partner you have, but not everyone feels things and experiences things as deep as you do, Scorpio, and people don't like to feel put under a microscope and psychoanalyzed. Scorpio desires intimacy, and that's why you do these things of, like, you know, testing people to see their true intentions, because of this depth that you create when you're truly united with someone. You really do crave intimacy. You want someone that you know the inner workings of their brain, you can really understand them. However, though you want pure and complete trust with that individual and you want to know their innermost secrets, you might not be as comfortable sharing yours. Like Scorpios, I always say, no matter how close you are with the Scorpio, there are a couple things that you don't know about them. So even though your paranoia can look at your partner and be like, I want to know everything so I don't have to be paranoid and nervous, when it comes to you, you're like, okay, well, that's a different story because I don't want to tell you everything. You love love, and you can be obsessed with love. And if someone doesn't like you, it can really take a lot of energy from you. Like, you can get really obsessive, super tunnel vision, which is a gift. We just want to direct more of that tunnel vision and more of that focus into things that are more constructive for your life, because it is like a black hole when a Scorpio is getting obsessed with something that's not giving them anything in return, because there's such a drive with this placement to go to extremes within your life. So it's important to watch that. Money can also turn into an obsession with you with Venus and Scorpio. It could be something where you feel like that's where your power is sourced. So it's important to pull yourself back, remind yourself of what really matters in life, rather than getting so fixed with the power that money can give you. Venus is also art. So you might, whether it's consuming of art, you might be drawn to kind of like deeper or sadder music. You might be drawn to movies that are really intense and really like heart-wrenching. Your home might feature lots of like kind of like intense art, or black or burgundy or red or crimson, just really deep, intense colors. For you, what you enjoy in life is going deep with things. You do not enjoy surface level, and that permeates into any Venusian affair. Love, money, art, etc. Friends, what do you think of this placement? I would love to know. Comment below. Comment what your favorite part of it, least favorite part of it, who it is in your life has this placement. My IG handle is @HaleyComet_Astrology. I would love to connect with you. I do a Monday morning IGTV, which takes you through the week's astrology and how you can use it for your life, for real life. Friends, I hope you enjoy, and until we meet again, drink lots of water and stay cosmic.